The 24 Carat Buddha and Other Fables, Stories of Self-Discovery by Maxine Harris. Publisher, the Sidran Institute Press of Baltimore, Maryland. The Alchemist. Many centuries ago, when people still felt comfortable admitting that they believed in magic, there lived a young man who was determined to make his fortune by practicing the ancient art of alchemy. Alchemy was part science, part magic, and part spiritual quest, and if the practitioner performed the rituals in exactly the right way, he or she would be able to transform worthless materials such as stone, dirt, or base metal into pure gold. While the art of alchemy might seem a simple way to make one's fortune, the opposite was in fact true. For you see, the exact formulas for performing the transformation have been lost during another era. Everyone knew that alchemy was possible, but no one knew the exact prescription for success. There were some ancient texts that purported to show the way, but these were difficult to decipher. In truth, practitioners of the ancient art had to find the precise formulas for themselves. The young man worked day and night, trying to find the exact mixture of elements that would allow him and his new bride to become rich beyond their wildest dreams. While he worked on his experiments, he neglected the work of his modest farm, and very soon he and his wife had spent her dowry and were living on the brink of financial ruin. When the young woman pleaded with her husband to give up his quest and tend to their livelihood, he refused, protesting that if she just gave him a little more time, he would succeed where so many others before him had failed. When they were down to their last few coins, the young woman went to her father and pleaded with him to intervene and make her husband see reason. Her father, who was a very wise man, agreed to talk with the young alchemist. "My dear son," intoned the old man, "I received the news of your experiments with great joy. You see, I too practiced the art of alchemy when I was a young man, but although I came close, I was never able to perform the final transformation. Let me see what you have done." The young man, who had expected his father-in-law to rebuke him, was delighted to show the old man his progress. "You have indeed done good work, my son," said the old man, "but I can see one ingredient which you are missing. You must gather the silver dust that collects on the leaves of the banana plant. If, and only if, you plant and harvest the bananas yourself, the powder turns to magic, and it will guarantee your success." "How much of the magic powder do I need?" cried the young man, almost unable to contain his excitement and eagerness to get started. "Ah, there's the difficult part. You must collect 2 pounds of the silver powder." "2 pounds? But that will take hundreds of plants at least." "I know, the task is hard," said the father-in-law, "but success will surely be yours if you have the will to collect the silver dust." "I will do it," cried the young man, and he set out to market with his last coins to buy his first banana plants. The young man tilled the soil and planted the young seedlings with great care. For weeks he tended his plants and made sure that they were free of weeds and other pests. After many months of hard work, the plants grew to maturity and bore fruit. The young man harvested the fruit and carefully collected the silver powder. He used the money from his first harvest to buy more land and still more banana plants. He continued this way for many years, tending his plants and collecting the magical silver powder. He and his wife built a house, had 3 healthy children, and still he continued to grow his bananas. After still more time in the fields, he finally managed to collect the prized 2 pounds of silver powder. With great excitement and anticipation, he ran to the home of his father-in-law. "Look," he cried, "I have managed to collect the powder you asked me to gather. Now show me what I must do to turn dirt into gold." "Patience, my son. You shall have your gold. But first we must ask your wife to join us for this experiment." When the old man's daughter appeared, he asked her what she had done with all the bananas the couple harvested for so many years. "Why, I took them to market and sold them," she replied. "And what did you do with the money?" "Why, I saved most of it, dear father, just as you told me to do. Here it is, in these 3 large sacks." And with that, she emptied piles of bright gold coins onto the floor. Her father looked at the coins and smiled. Next to the pile of coins, he placed 3 small piles of dirt. And then he turned to his son-in-law. "See, my son, how your silver powder has turned the dirt of your fields into piles of gold." At first, the son-in-law looked perplexed. Then he frowned and tightened his brow in an angry grimace. And then, after a few more minutes, he burst into a loud and deep laughter. "You, my dear and wise father, and not I, are the greatest alchemist of all. For you have managed to turn a young and idle dreamer into a prosperous and hard-working man." The Alchemist. So often we hope for some magical intervention to change our lives and bring us instant happiness and lasting contentment and peace. Some of us may even be tempted to suspend any constructive activity that might bring about a significant change in our life circumstance while we wait for some magical change that will finally arrive and make things just right. The young man in the story believed in a miracle, but actually transformed himself through hard work that was at times boring, at times routine, and at times slow going. And while the work was not glamorous or exciting, it was work that needed to be done. So too, many individuals discover that the work they do in their lives and in their personal growth, however stressful and at times tedious it might be, is the real magic that brings about true change and enduring emotional reward.